I can't sleep in the same room as my boyfriend when I'm at your house? Fine, we won't sleep there. I was a recent college graduate who had made the immoral choice to move in with a boyfriend. Without getting married, we moved in together in another state about a 6-hour drive from my parents, who lived about 2 hours away from the boyfriend's parents. When we came back to visit, my parents made us sleep in separate rooms, beds because we weren't married. After a visit or two like this, Christmas holiday rolled around. We were planning to be in the state for the whole week between Christmas and New Year's, splitting the time between the two families. We start by spending 2 nights at my parents'. Then around dinner time the third day we leave to head to his parents'. My parents are surprised and confused that we are not staying longer. They expected us to split the time evenly. My reply: well, at his parents' house we get to sleep together, so we want to spend the night there. Bye. Before the next visit, they let us know they have decided that since we are a committed couple, they will allow us to share a room even though we're not married. When my GF first started staying over at my parents' house, we were 25. My parents had no idea what to do. They would always make up the guest room for her, but never said anything more than that. When I finally mentioned it, I found out the reason was that they didn't want to come across as presumptuous or make her feel pressured to sleep in my room. They figured every guest gets their own room and whether they sleep in it or not is their own choice. I wanted to tell my parents when they visited my first apartment that they couldn't sleep together, but they were already divorced, so I missed my opportunity. I can go one better. My mother didn't want my wife to share my bed when we visited her. Firstly, we are married, and secondly, it's not like we would do anything pornographic in her house with her in the next room. But if we did, we are married. She was genuinely shocked when we decided hotels were better for us. Funny. My in-laws didn't want us to marry until she completed grad school. They were convinced she would drop it and start popping out babies. We defied them by marrying after 1 year of grad school, and the whole wedding process was a nightmare. Mill was a total psycho. She was so demanding that the wedding was called off 3 separate times. At one point, she was so controlling that my fiancé had to put her foot down and say, "We do this my way, or we elope." Except in this case, eloping meant inviting my family and all of our friends, but none of her family. She knew her mother would show up if the wedding location leaves, so she was prepared to uninvite her entire family. That shook Mill into listening a little bit. 12 years later, still no kids by choice. It was amazing how Mill went from being afraid that we'd drop out to realizing that we would never give her grandkids. Mill has 2 other daughters, and both eloped rather than deal with their mother. Worse, Mill is such a narcissist that she has no memory of our conflicts, and couldn't understand why her other daughters eloped. Also in this time period, my sister and her girlfriend lived in my parents' house also and shared a room, despite there being 2 empty rooms once my parents finally realized they were dating. They had known she was gay for years. They made them sleep in separate rooms. They moved out soon after. I've definitely done similar in the past. My parents never cared, but my partner's parents did. They get to have their boundaries in their house, but I get to have my boundaries in my relationship. So hotel it is. I had the opposite experience with my first girlfriend's mom. The first time we visited after moving away, she had the main bedroom set up for us. She showed us to the room and slapped her hands together and told her in Spanish to, "All right, make a baby," and closed the door. We were still teenagers. My uncle wasn't allowed to sleep in the same room as his girlfriend when they visited her parents, even though they both had grandkids already. My mom gave birth with my older brother. And when she was home recovering, my mom's parents wouldn't allow my dad to sleep in the same room. Like, what exactly do you expect is gonna happen? My ex's parents made us do this the first time I went back to his home state to meet them. I was pregnant. My wife's grandfather was like that. My wife was born out of wedlock, and when they went to stay with her mom's father, he made her mom and dad sleep in separate room even though my wife was already born. Tears of joy. Had a similar thing. Parents said we couldn't sleep in the same room until we were engaged. Well, we got engaged and suddenly the goalposts moved. We don't really visit much anymore. I rented an entire bread and breakfast place in rural Pennsylvania in like 2015 for a weekend so I could see my extended family. There were 10 of us staying. Take a wild guess what it looked like. The elderly woman owner walked us around and pointed to rooms when we arrived. You boys will stay in here. The girls over here. You young lady can stay in this room with his wife so you'll be comfortable. She was pointing to my 25-year-old sister and my 31-year-old wife. We all kinda looked at one another in disbelief. She continued the tour, and you too can. Quote. I spoke up and simply rearranged her stupid ideas. Yo, I'll be staying with my wife. Alone. My sis will be in there with her BF. Alone. Thanks for the tour, we're tired. She was shocked. Honest to God, thought she would command 10 people around who were paying her to sleep. Ha! That's the best. My now wife and I had the same issue when we were dating. Her parents are old school conservative Christians and mine didn't care what I did as long as I didn't burn the house down. 9 times 10 we stayed at my parents' place because we were able to sleep in the same bed. We respected her parents' wishes when I stayed there, but for the most part it was just them blindly following some form of purity culture which both of us were quite opposed to. I know someone like this. She's absolutely ridiculous. Her one kid has been dating his partner for 8 years. They bought a house together. Still not good enough for her. Even having a child together isn't a commitment. That stupid piece of paper is. And she wonders why her kids don't bother with her. My parents are like this, and we have actually set up the car real nice and slept in it. Sleeping bags, pillows, a portable fan. Everyone was pretty cool with my sister's husband, but our dog took a few years of visits for little Doogie not to notify every movement and attack him when he kissed. This happened to me when I was 26. BF. Now husbands. Mom wasn't going to let us sleep in the same room when visiting for the holidays. I put my foot down and said, we either sleep together or we get a hotel. End of discussion. Lol, guess who gave us the guest bedroom? My friend's parents made her sleep in between them. Like mom, her, dad, all three in the same bed. Because they took her boyfriend on a family trip. She could have just shared a room with her brother, but the parents wouldn't have it. It's funny how flexible someone's morals become when it starts impacting them and not just others.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.